What is it that you have added to the story of education?
Well, I feel very strongly that one of the things that became evident in my life, and I think most of our lives, is that school education offers us a certain indoctrination, certain basics, but education really involves curiosity, it involves a willingness to continue to look more deeply, even when the channels of institution and school begin to, in a way, oftentimes turn us off from learning, because it's about studying, it's about learning for tests. And over the years, I took a page from really the story that we must take responsibility to educate ourselves. And our homes reflect, essentially our parents reflect values to us. So if we are in homes that have a value given to education, the sense of learning, it's infused in everyone in the household. But if there's no sense that these things are of importance, you can't force these things to be of importance. So the only thing you can do, and this is sort of the true education, is to say, well, at least where I live, let me honor these things. I can't tell my neighbor how to be, or they're supposed to be interested in these things. But the education that for me has been lacking has been the creative, the imaginative, the storytelling, that which says, if you learn everything in the world but you don't have context, or on a bottom line you don't have a sense of meaning, no matter what you have, it will feel hollow. It will feel as though I know everything and yet I have nothing. And so in education, we have to begin to say, where do I begin to ask my questions from? And this is something that we have avoided for a very long time, but we realize our culture and our society and our world are tending toward, which is the responsibility of the individual, not on the reliance of the greater infrastructure of a type of parental state, but actually a sense that this must matter to me. This is one of the reasons why I always talk about being gardeners. A gardener can't garden the world. A gardener can say, though, I am responsible for what I grow, what I cultivate, what I pay attention to. And with my life as a reflection, my art as a reflection, my work in the world of acting as a reflection, the education it gave me was an awareness that those other worlds, the worlds we share with others, ask certain questions and, in a sense, demand a certain agreement. But if we take those agreements home with us, we begin to educate ourselves about what we don't like about those other outside stories. And we forget to nourish our human story. Meaning, if I come home and remind myself to fill in what is missing, not be against what I see is not there, then I start to add, like a gardener, a sense of the relevance of these things. And that's why in Olandar, in my home, I work and live inside of a library, essentially. And the library says, I'm not interested in what you think about the books. I'm interested in the truth that you're part of a great conversation. And if you're curious, you can trust the conversation. And you will educate yourself because you will be willing to take the adventure into the questions only you can ask, into the places only you can go. And this is to say that once we have the basics, it's essentially, this is important about education. We need to have the basics, because they're the tools that teach us how to play the piano. But if we make our story about the piano and agreeing with the agreement about what the piano is, but never play it, we never adventure into what is not known, and there the true education lies. And that's why when we look at our great music, our great painting, our great, essentially, successes of climbing great mountains, we realize that the education was not in thinking about those things, but doing them. And in the process of doing, they brought forth revelation that could not be expressed no matter how educated a person was. So this is the thing. It's adding the creative and imaginative dimension, but only we can do that. And we can't expect a system to do that any more than we can expect the piano to play the music. We must be that. So it's to participate in your own education and understand where you live and where you love is the garden you're cultivating. And the education is what you learn from your willingness to engage the sense of what if. And boy, I tell you, we humans, we are the children of what if. So trust the what if. It'll educate you. Thanks.